Hey everybody, and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be looking at Hytale, which is releasing on January 13th, and the top 5 features we want to see before the full launch. And right now it's releasing in early access, so I'm not expecting these features to be placed in there before early access comes out, obviously. But for when the actual game launches in a year or two, these are the kind of features I think we'd like to see implemented over the early access cycle. I posted up on Reddit, which is where the general Hytale community seems to be at its strongest, just to see, hey, what do people want? What are people looking for? We got a ton of really great responses, but I'm just going to focus on the 5 that either came up the most or seemed the most likely to happen, because some of them were great ideas, but they were just too big and too complex to be expecting them as a game mechanic so early on in its development cycle. I'm going to speak about my one that I want the most first, which is just proximity chat. Sorry for the cut here. I accidentally sneezed midway through talking about proximity chat, but I really liked my intro, so I'm sticking with it. Yeah, proximity chat's going to be a really, really important part for the game for me, for both like the multiplayer aspect, having servers. I just feel like missing it from the early access launch was a really big one, and I understand they have a lot of work to do and to catch up on, but I really think they should have got that in before the early access, and I'm really hoping to see it as the first feature implemented. I just think it's so important, especially for servers, and if you're going to launch day one with servers, I think it's just such an important factor in them. But look, it is something that I think will be added, and they've said they're going to add it, so I won't harp on about it. And this video as a whole will not be a criticism of the game going, this stuff should be here. It will just be, hey, look, these are things I think need to be added before you go for a full launch, based on the description they've given for the game. So starting off with number 1, we've got skills and a perk tree. Obviously, this game is going to have RPG elements. They've spoken multiple times about how they want it to have an RPG feel in a sandbox cube-based randomly generated world. So you need to have some sort of skill tree or an ability to level up your skills. Now, some people on the Reddit wanted like skills for everything, mining, crafting, sword fighting, all skills for everything in the game. I don't know if it needs to be that complex, at least not on launch. Can it be added to? Of course. At least if the skill tree is implemented, it gives modders a chance to add to it as well. Like, I think they should keep it sort of simple, and I say that because you look at something like Skyrim, which is one of the biggest games ever, and I played that as an 11-year-old, and I could fully understand the skill tree. Like, I understand us as gamers, people like me who have played hundreds, if not thousands of hours of these types of games, are going to want a more complex system, but you have to look at it from the point of view of the developer too. They need to market it to a broad audience as well. And if you make it too complex, it pushes people away at the same time. And this game will be appealing looking to people who are 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, as well as adults like myself. So it's important that they don't forget that and go too complex, and make sure that it's accessible for people as well. So I think a simple skill tree system would be really interesting. And again, maybe you can make it more complex as time goes on, but for the base, I think a simple one would be really, really important for this game. At number 2, we've got complex NPCs. There were kind of 2 systems that were sort of recommended on the Reddit here, highly recommended. One, you got the Terraria system, where you go out into the world, or Enshrouded, where you go out into the world, you meet people, and you invite them back to your base, or maybe they show up to your base when you make certain upgrades, that kind of thing. I really like that. I think that would be amazing. I think this game needs the NPC thing, because you've got all these different cultures and races in the game, and I think different settlements from what I've seen. So the other idea was that if you weren't going to have, a Terraria system, you could go to these settlements and help protect them and improve them and help grow the settlements over time. That would also be really amazing if that's an option to, like, essentially pick a side or work on your relations. And I think for Forever Worlds, it would be a really, really big, impactful thing to have there, that you can develop relationships with multiple tribes you're meeting across the world, and hopefully more races and more NPCs get added with time. I think they need some sort of NPC system. That would be, out of the 5 things on this list, that would be my number 1. I think it makes the world feel alive, especially if you're playing single player. Look, I'm planning on running a server with my friends and some other people, but if you're playing single player, I feel like it's really, really important that you do have, NPCs in the game, just to give it a bit of life. Like, it's, comparing it to Minecraft, all you do in Minecraft is kidnap the villagers and shove them in your basement. And that's just not really very innovative. I know people will hate the comparison, but this game is similar to Minecraft. I'm not saying it's a Minecraft copy, but they have similarities, and you can't just erase that. And honestly, being compared to Minecraft is one of the greatest things any game could ever be, as Minecraft is one of the biggest, most successful games to ever exist. So genuinely, I think it's a compliment when Hytale gets compared to it. Next, we have a number 3, movable block structures. And what that is boats, trains, blimps. The blimps, I think, could be really cool. Like, I would expect boats to be in it. I would expect some sort of railway or train system to be able to be built by players. I think blimps could be really cool and unique. It gives the steampunky vibe, so it fits the medieval kind of system. They could even add a race that, like, it is up in the sky and travels between their buildings. Maybe have like some sort of crystal that holds up a building or something. I don't know. I'm just rolling off the top of my head, but some sort of system that would be a reason for why blimps are in the game. I really think you could have them work, and I just love a blimp. I don't know what it is. I love a steampunky blimpy vibe, so I would love to see that, and that's quite a simple one, and I do expect at least boats to be added into the game at some point. Number 4, we've got some sort of mechanical system, i.e. redstone from Minecraft. I don't think it needs to be redstone. You could go for wiring, or you could have a proximity. So if I place a lever and then there's these pistons or whatever, they get connected to that lever, or I can connect them to the lever with a mechanical wand or some bullshit, or a wrench or something. I'm sure that will be added. Again, I think it's been spoken about that more mechanical systems are going to get added. These are all just things I would expect to see before the launch of the game, or some sort of version of these before the launch of the game. I think the mechanical one, a lot of people just love redstone. I'm not a big redstone person, so I'm not going to be able to talk about it in very broad strokes. But I know there are a huge amount of people in the Minecraft community, and just people in general, who love the modded side of things, that love the technical aspects of Minecraft. And I think that would be a really big element that they would be missing out on if they didn't have some sort of redstone-like system. Again, they don't have to directly copy, but they can do something similar to just make automation a thing as well for farming and mining and mob killing and these sort of things. And then finally, we have spell crafting system. Now, magic seems like it will be in the game. I mean, it's been hinted at in the screenshots you've seen, and I think it was in one of the trailers, if I remember correctly. So obviously magic's going to be there. That has to be there on launch. That's just like, that's one of them where, you're getting a mad video off me if we're not seeing magic. If you've advertised magic, I want to see it on launch. Don't need to see it in the launch of the early access, but at the full launch of the game, I need to see magic. And what I also would think would be really cool is a crafting system for magic. Again, kind of back to the first point, does it need to be massively complex? Not necessarily, but it would just be nice if you could make your own sort of customizable spells, a bit like you have in Oblivion. I just think it would be a really, really awesome system. I don't think it would be that complex to implement necessarily. At least when you're playing the Oblivion one, and I study game development, I don't feel like that is that complex of a system to actually add. So I would hope to see something like that in the game, and I think it would really add a lot of layers to the game to have that in it. And that would kind of be my final system that I would expect to add. I would love to add more to this video. Like, there were so many good suggestions on the Reddit. I'm going to link the Reddit thread down below so you can go check it out. I'd love to make this video top 10, but I don't like to drag videos on too much, and you can't demand too much either. Like, these are the things I would expect, and I picked the most simple ones for that reason. There were just really some great suggestions that I was like, that would be amazing if this was in the game, but it's gonna be, it's too complex to be expecting it anytime soon, if ever. Like, it's more of a mod, if you know what I mean. So that was a lot of suggestions, but genuinely some really, really great suggestions. I want to thank anybody who did reply on the Reddit. They didn't know they were going to be on a YouTube video, or that their ideas were going to be here, but they are here now. So yeah, I want to thank everybody for watching. I really appreciate anyone who got to the end of the video here. Hit a like, hit a subscribe, share it with your friends, anyone who's interested in Hytale. I will be releasing videos soon, and I'll link the Discord as well, where me and my friends and a group of people are going to be doing a Hytale server. It's an RP server, but it's not like a full role-playing server where you have to get into character and put a voice on and all this shite. It is literally just, hey, look, do you want to be like the local lad who runs the pub? We'll get a builder to come over and build your pub, blah blah blah. Like, it's not going to be too complex. You can go set up rival villages and towns. It's going to be really, really fun. I'm going to be streaming it all, and I'm probably uploading YouTube videos on it and stuff. So if you want to be a part of that, come along. I wish I described it better there, but I am going to do a full video on it when I break it down. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys, and best of luck with the rest of your day, and good luck.